editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for joining us for the 4 o'clock show. We've been talking politics since 4 inside the Beltway. City Council candidates here. But we're going to move to some performance here in Rhode Island. There's going to be a show, the Italian Chicks, on June 15th here in Rhode Island in East Greenwich. We have Maryann Boom Boom Maisano headlining the show with us here in studio today. Maryann, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Kate, thanks for having me.
Well, appreciate your taking the time to Skype in and give us a little bit of a preview about this show. Obviously, a lot of folks of Italian heritage, or even not, might be interested to come check it out. It's a comedy, it's a drama, it'll make you laugh, make you cry. Tell us about the show.
Yeah, exactly that. It's a comedy and variety show, which you really don't see anymore. Usually you go to a comedy club, you won't see the Italian Chicks in a comedy club because we add music, we do song parodies. Basically, the Italian Chicks will make you remember things you paid your shrink to forget, okay? And also, it brings you back to a time and place when life was kind of simple. And you remembered all these, like when you were younger, those things were kind of annoying to you. But then when you got older, you realized the value in Sunday dinners and how important they were to the family, and they were the fabric that kept everything together. So being at an Italian Chick show really will take you back to a time and place when life was quite simple and make you remember your nonna, your nonno, all the great foods, crazy stories about our aunts and uncles that came from the other side, which is Europe, Italy. So we really take you on this visceral kind of roller coaster of a journey about, growing up first-generation Italian American.
So what do you hear from folks after the show, after the performances? You talk about remembering all the things about growing up Italian. Is the reaction, boy, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Kay, you're right. At the end of the show, first of all, at the end of our shows, I hope you would come. It's June 15th at the Odeum Theater. Please let me know. I'd be happy to give you some VIP comps and your team there. Because I know you got some Italian going on in there with you. I know that.
A little
okay?
Italian, yeah.
I felt it. It was a vibe. Okay.
Is it the hands?
Basically, our Italian chick shows, after the show, it's like a wedding. We stand there on a line. Like after the wedding, they all wait online with the abusta, yeah. And they come up and they thank you and they give you a kiss and they're like, oh, yeah. Well, this is what people do with us. And one night we were standing there and we see this woman, because everybody's coming over going like, oh, this was the best. And I remembered the meatballs on Sunday, and I remembered and we see this woman crying, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, this maybe is not good, However, it was the most touching compliment ever. She walked over and she said, I have to tell you, she said, my mom and dad passed in the same year. It must have been about 4 years back, right? She said the same year, months apart. And she said, and she was crying, and she said, I heard words here tonight that I haven't heard since my mom and dad were alive, and I want to thank you for taking me back home.
Oh, touching. As you said, the people who can relate to what they see with the show. And speaking of the show, I want you to tell us a little bit, how did we get the Italian Chicks to come to Rhode Island? I know that it's being produced by Carolyn Costa.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting, this crazy little thing called social media, right? Which people love and hate at the same time, right? Because it does have some great value for us, even politically, with people trapped in countries. They go right on Facebook and we find out things. Carolyn Costa found me on Facebook and started following the show because I do put up some unique information on Facebook, whether it's live videos, whether it's because I'm also a singer, songwriter, and musician. So I'm what you call an entertainer, okay? So it's everything in one. And she found us on there, and we started talking about the show and the value of Rhode Island, because Rhode Island is such a huge melting pot of an Italian-American culture. It really is. And it's a smaller state. It's not like a Boston so everything is very close-knit, and people are really involved and in it. So we started talking about this prospect of doing the show together, and I give her a lot of credit. She's really, into it, and she's got her producer's hat on, and she's doing a great job.
So I have to ask you, where did the boom boom come from?
Oh my God, you have to come to the show to hear that.
You gotta go.
Actually, I think it's part of my Italian mob maid name. You know what I mean? Like they have Louis Thumbs, Maryann Boom Boom. Okay, but it's a great. I'm really. This is how the Italian Chicks kind of started. I myself, I knew when I was 5 years old that I wanted to be a performer, and that was a blessing and a burden at the same time. It really was, because every Sunday, all my family would come over, the cousins, the aunts, everybody from the other side, and my mother would cook, and then when she'd be in the kitchen making dessert, she'd say, "Maryann, go inside and sing for everybody." And I would jump on the chair and sing. And as soon as I heard this, I was like, that's what I want, And then as I got older and I won a guitar and I started, teaching myself how to play, and I was in all these bands, and my father saw me getting in a van with like 5 guys going on the road, and he was like, "Hey, ma chi cazzo ca?" Okay? And he said to me one day, "Maryann, you better get a real job and at the benefits." And I felt challenged by that, because when there's so many years that separate you, I took that as a challenge. Like he didn't think I could do anything good, and he was saying, "I don't know your world, and I just want to make sure you're okay." So I wound up walking into a local bank, and I got a job as a teller. And I wound up staying in banking and became quite successful by accident. And I was vice president of sales for many financial institutions. Until one day, while giving one of my sales seminars, I said to the team, "So, how many of you knew you wanted to be a banker when you grew up?" And it was like, "Nobody! Surprise! You all want and I know it, And that's when it hit me. I said, I'm not living my passions. I'm not following my passion. And I walked right into the CEO's office, and I walked away from my 6-figure job. And one of the things I wanted, well, first, I hadn't written a song in 10 years, so I wound up writing a CD of music, of which Danny Aiello approached me. Danny Aiello, Mr. Moonstruck, Do the Right Thing, that Danny. And I fell in love with one of my songs, wound up recording it. It was nominated for a Grammy. And then Danny fell in love with the show. I put this show together, and I started casting for specific people. And it turns out majority of the women that I've chosen, well, one woman we started in comedy together, but the rest, it's like having an extra family of women that are just so talented and so reinventing in so many ways. I mean, I know that I feel I reinvented myself, and I think I continue to do so on a daily basis, because who wants to sit still, right?
That is true. We certainly don't sit still here, but heard about this great show again, June 15th at the East Greenwich Odeum. Anything else you want folks to know about the show while we have you on our show here?
Well, it's a 2-hour comedy and variety show. It's a casino-style show. I think they should be prepared to laugh a lot and to really get on that visceral roller coaster, to take a nice little ride home and visit people that they haven't seen in a long time.
Well, again, as you said, you have to go to the show to find out where the boom boom came from. I don't think it came from the banking world.
No, I'm thinking you're right there, Kate. You know what I'm saying? little bit, I'm thinking you're right. Okay?
Well, Maryann Boom Boom Maisano with the Italian Chicks coming to Rhode Island on June 15th. I appreciate your taking the time to Skype in, let us know a little bit more about the show. And if you're watching now, we'll provide links to it as well. Maryann, thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Kate. Appreciate it. Have a great one.
Thank you. Take care. Maryann Boom Boom Maisano coming to the Italian Chicks here on June 15th. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here with our next guest in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center.